We have a wild update to the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni trial that's going on. Hundreds of millions of dollars are on the line. The publicity of A-list actors is at stake. And now we have some claims that there may be a crisis actor that was used in the donut shop that Blake Lively did her publicity event at last week. Now, this might sound crazy to you. In fact, it does sound crazy to me. I generally believe the most obvious answer is the most basic one, which is that it was just a kid getting a donut. But there could be some proof that it's otherwise. So Elle Rich, the content creator from FAFO Associates, that's Fudge Around and Find Out, she has compiled the evidence that this kid might have been hired by Blake's team in order to create, I guess, a safe space for her to do her PR campaign. Of course, we do know that at her South by Southwest premiere of Simple Favor 2, or whatever the heck it's called, there was the fans on the street, and then there was a pre-approved list of fans, which was people that they knew, close publicist, family of the director, that type of thing. Obviously, Blake is concerned, I would imagine, that a PR event that would normally be a good thing, slinging donuts, would turn bad if one person went there and called her out and it went viral or something like that. It's kind of risky for her right now, to be honest, to be out in public doing these types of things, because if someone does want to call her out, it would go viral and draw more bad attention to her. So the idea that she would hire somebody to make a safe space for a donut PR event is massively insane, but it could be true. So a crisis actor, there's two definitions. The first, less sinister definition, is a crisis actor is a trained actor or role player, volunteer, or other person engaged to portray a disaster victim during emergency drills, to train first responders such as police, firefighters, or EMS personnel. That's not what's being used here. What's being accused of here is a crisis actor who is someone who takes part in a conspiracy to manipulate public opinion by pretending to be a victim of an event such as a bombing, shooting, or natural disaster. So, is that the case here, that this crisis actor is used in the role playing of Blake coming in? And credit to Ellsrich, because the fact that Blake is good friends with the donut shop could show that she could have just bought the donut shop out for an hour and then only invited in people that they knew. Like, hey, we got the donut shop, come in and say hi, knowing that it'll be a safer environment. Those are decent accusations. Let's listen to what Ellsrich had to say regarding this actual story and, whether or not this is a crisis situation.
So, because the streets are saying you hired a child actor, this account posted a picture. Now, one of my associates went in the deep end, and it turns out the little boy is a child actor. So the streets want to know, was he hired to be there, Blake, or was this just a happenstance? Because we also know your husband was there, but somehow he wasn't in any of the pictures. He was nowhere to be found in your videos and your pictures at being at the donut shop, nor was he in the article, other than the quote by the father who told his son he's Deadpool. But there was no mention of him, but we know he was there now. So now my thing with this picture is, had the mom posted the picture and showed her son and Blake, it's cool. It's whatever. You guys are a family outing. You saw a celebrity. You took a picture. But mom, you covered your face as though I'm not on a job. This is a job for the boy.
It's very interesting. I'm gonna steelman this and defend that this boy is not a crisis actor in this moment. It's Connecticut. They are a train ride away from New York City. Everyone with a cute kid wants their kid to be a child actor in this, world we live in. If the page that she showed was actually from a child actor page, she probably already has her face blurred out because it's the mom running the account. It's about the boy, not the mom. So that's where the blur came in. And if you're a child actor and you run into Blake Lively, wouldn't you want to see that? Wouldn't you want to show on your Instagram that you're hanging with an A-lister? That's, I don't think, a far stretch. And to be quite fair, I think it's just a kid who's an actor who ended up at a donut shop. That's what I think. But if someone wanted to argue the opposite and say, well, listen, Blake Lively put on an event, They were afraid for her safety, so they called a casting person and just got 20 people to show up that were pre-approved. I buy it. I just don't think that's what happened, but I buy it. It's not some crazy scenario. Now, I would say this. If you're Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and you hire a casting company to come bring people in, you for sure would not let those people post photos linking to the fact that they're an actor, right? If you were trying to pull the wool over our head, is that a saying, boomers? That feels like a boomer saying. If you were to pull the wool over our head, I don't know, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't let it be known that the people you hired were also actors. And for sure you wouldn't let them post a photo to their own social media. So for that reason alone, I'm saying not a crisis actor, not in this moment at least. We have hey, confirmation bias exists. We look into things, we find webs and connections that aren't really there, and I don't blame people for looking. All right, well, in other news, the parallel news, the donut shop has been cleared. Blake Lively's donut stunt. And by the way, there might be a reason why Blake Lively did this donut stunt. I'll share what people are saying on the interwebs. But the health department clears her friend's business targeted by trolls. The Connecticut donut shop under fire, mostly by trolls, after Blake Lively worked a shift without wearing a hairnet, is cleared of any health code violations. You could say that the donut shop glazed a bullet. Like grazed? All right, glaze over that joke. Okay, anyhow, according to a Wilton Health Department document, which TMZ has seen, Rise Donut, a small mom-and-pop business, was investigated after an anonymous complaint, and officials found 0 violations. No fine was issued, and the case is officially closed. Now, of course, it was because of this photo where people said, oh boy, she's going to get hair in the donuts. And my whole thing is this, really, is this worth sinking a business over? You know, sometimes you want a good hair in the donut. You know what I mean? It's like, what's a donut if it's not going to be made by some, people skirting the rules, right? Oh, don't use more than a cup of sugar. We're using 2 cups of sugar and a couple plucks of hair. Now, of course, I'm kidding. You don't want any hair in your food, especially where I'm going. But it's also okay. It's a little dodgy when people review bomb, because that in its own form is astroturfing when you're review bombing. Like if you weren't there, if you don't go to the business, I think your review shouldn't count. It's like if someone wanted to give me a bad review because they don't like me, but they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. The business recently received increased public attention, which often means people come to this page to post their views on the news. While we don't take a stand one way or the other when it comes to this incident, we've temporarily disabled the posting of content to this page as we work to investigate whether the content you see here reflects actual consumer experiences rather than the recent events. I love that Yelp does this, but I've been really critical of Yelp because they've got some shady business practices where, if you, they kind of strong arm you to like get certain reviews removed based on whether or not you do business with their promotional team. Some pretty sketchy stuff I think has happened, but generally you can tell if a review person is good or not based on how many reviews they've given and this and that. So the barrage of negative reviews became so abusive, left by people from all around the country. The shop's Yelp page was disabled. While some people might have had a legit bone to pick with sanitary concerns, it's safe to assume others were simply hating on Blake because of her ongoing legal war with Justin. Now, of course, both those things can be true, and you just have to be fair. It's like, is a business worth going under because they can never recover from the, hundreds or dozens or so of 1-star reviews? I mean, I think that's ridiculous, regardless of what you think of the beef going on. So the other conspiracy brought out by folks online was that maybe Blake Lively did this PR event to instigate the negative reviews, insofar as then she could share with the judge, look, there is actual damage coming from this case. Now, I think you could argue that there already is damage coming from this case. Like, I'm not a lawyer, but this idea of defamation per se, right? This idea that by Blake and Ryan saying that Justin's a predator and making these accusations, he doesn't have to prove damages. It's damaging enough to show that. Does Blake Lively have to reciprocate and prove that there's bad Yelp reviews and bad actors, and this is why her business suffers because everywhere she goes, people come out to get her? I don't think she has to prove that. I think it won't hurt her now to show, look, I went to a donut shop and all these people came out to hate me. Now, Justin Baldoni, in response, could say, well, that proves our point, that you're just not liked. That proves our point that these review bombs aren't from Jed Wallace or some crazy company. They're from people that just don't like you. And while we wish you were liked, it's not our fault that you're not liked. I don't know. Those are some thoughts. And by the way, if you want some additional content, my interview with an octopus expert is up. And I've actually got a lot of content here, but I'm just going to show you a clip. This is why I love my audience. I'm going to show you a clip of my interview with Warren Carlyle. He's an octopus expert, and I'm going to show why this interview even came about. Have a listen. Story last week about an octopus riding a mako shark, and next thing you know, we beam in an octopus expert. How about that?
Somebody has got to be the PR agent for the octopus.
They've got 8 legs, and they each have their own sort of brain, right? Like each one moves independently of itself.
Octopuses actually have 8 arms. So no legs, 8 arms. Those arms can almost act for themselves. If an arm is away from the host or dismembered or dislodged, it can still operate for up to an hour, and it can go and it could potentially suffocate or go and latch on to the gills of anything. So
there it is, my chat with octopus expert and founder of Octo Nation, Warren Carlyle. Look, I mean, hey, we got it all for you here this weekend. Family-friendly stuff, And by the way, I mean, if I had 8 octopus arms, I would use them to just eat 8 different donuts all at once, all at the same time. Whether they got Blake Lively's hair in them or not, I don't care. I'm a donut fiend, and I'm also trying to give up sugar before my 40th birthday. So I miss it. I miss feeling the joys of life. Okay. Because let me tell you something, salads ain't cutting it for me, baby. All right, well, there's your update, Crisis Actor. Let me know in the comment sections what you think. I think it's fair enough. I think it's fair enough to speculate, but also be a little reasonable and say, all right, come on, right? Come on. This is crazy. And again, my final reason for not thinking this is a Crisis Actor is the person uploaded the photo to their own actor page, right? In that case, it's like, who would have blown their cover like that? That's like a James Bond uploading to his Instagram, like, gonna go chill with Moneypenny. No, you don't do that. All right, there it is. Have a good one, folks. We'll be back when there's more breaking news, so stick around.